Welcome back, Chicago Bears fans. Thank you for tuning in and listening to what I have to ramble about. I appreciate you. If you wouldn't mind smashing the like button, subscribing if you haven't, I really, really do appreciate it. All right, I wasn't going to do this. I wasn't going to do the mock draft before the season ended, but I've been on these forums and I've been listening to what people think we should do with the draft picks. And it got the better of me, so here I am. I'm doing mock draft 4.0. I was going to wait till the end of the season. So what I've done is I've projected where we'll end with my projections for the last week of the season. I have this in the 11th pick overall. And I am going to give my insights on why the Bears need to draft for the now and not stockpile all for the future. I think we should stockpile a little for the future, but I think we need to go for these key first couple rounds. The first, second rounds are really where you hit home runs in the draft. So my draft strategy today is sticking with Justin Fields, which I've already established if you know anything about my channel, and picking up that draft capital for now. So with that, I'm going to have the Bears successfully trade down from 1-1 to 1-2 with the Washington Commanders. And the Bears are going to get the second overall pick, the 34th overall pick, which is the Commanders' second rounder, and the 43rd, which was the Bears that they traded for Montez Sweat. So bring it on back. Let's get greedy and take that back and make Montez Sweat part of that first trade. And I'm going to read something from Courtney Cronin and Jeremy Fowler that they had put out there. They said if the Bears traded the first pick, the return could be immense. Several executives agree Chicago could net more than it did with the Panthers trade. And from a prospective trade partner already picking in the top 5. Those execs believe the price to get the number 1 could be 2 future first-rounders on top of this year's pick, along with a variation of day 2 picks and or a premium veteran player on a manageable contract. Sorry, struggled through that. But what I want to point out with that is this is a top-heavy draft, and this is a deep class in certain areas. So the wide receiver class, I'm working on a video right now, and I think you guys are really going to like it. I've seen some other creators that I like focus on it too. Those who have the foresight and are seeing ahead realize where the Bears are lacking, and that's been historically in the wide receiver position. We're not just one of the lowest passing and one of the lowest stats for quarterbacks and receivers historically because we suck at that position. That's just not accurate. The Bears have relied heavily on defense and running, and that's true. But the Bears have never made it a priority to draft high in the wide receiver position. And today I'm going to show why they need to this year. There are 15 receivers who easily could be taken in the top 45 picks, top 2 rounds at least. But it's not going to happen. That's not how it works. Teams have needs they have to address. But in this class, the Bears need to trade, get the now, since as I'm showing with the Commanders. I want us to focus not on this first trade with going for the future, because at 1-2, yeah, we can pick up Marvin Harrison Jr., and I love it. He's absolutely the best wide receiver prospect. He's generational. I agree completely. I'm not saying anything negative about him. But with this class, having that many top-tier wide receivers, Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, Rome Odunze would all be wide receiver 1s in any other class. They would be the top wide receiver picked in any other class. So what my idea is to have the Bears trade the Commanders for the now. Take those 2 second-round picks where there's tons of value and then trade down again. So I'm going to have the Bears trade down again, and I'm going to have them successfully trade down with the Falcons after this because there is a high demand on those top picks. Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, they're all top-tier quarterbacks in this draft. They have a lot of value, as well as Marvin Harrison Jr. Maybe someone trades up to 2 for Marvin Harrison Jr. For this projection, I'm going to say we trade with the Falcons because they want to get up and get Drake May or Caleb Williams, whoever the Commanders didn't take. And they're going to trade 1-8, 240, 373, and their first-round pick. Now, these aren't crazy out there. I study this every year. I study draft trades. I was pretty dang close on the Bears trade last year. I had us getting more picks and not getting DJ Moore. But I don't know who could have projected getting DJ Moore because the Panthers clearly didn't value DJ Moore with what his value truly was. So, in this, we've traded down twice now. Now we're down to the 8th pick, and look what we've picked up. So after the trades, we have Washington's pick that we traded to Atlanta. So now the 8th from Atlanta. We have our own pick at 11. We have our 34th pick overall from Washington, second pick in the second round. 40th pick from Atlanta, 8th pick in the second round. Our own pick that we got back but traded back from Washington. In the third round, we have Atlanta's pick. We have our own pick. And then I have Ian Cunningham getting hired away. It's already been rumored several different times. I see him being a GM somewhere. It's not out there. Like it's already circulating. It circulated last year, and it was rumored it was going to happen. He interviewed apparently a couple times. So I have that in here. In the fourth round, we have our own pick. In the fifth round, we have our own pick. We traded away our own 6th and 7th picks, and those are gone. So this is where I have the Bears for the now. Now remember, we still have Carolina's second-round pick next year. And then with this, we have Atlanta's first-round pick. So we still have value. For all those haters who don't like Justin Fields and they want to say, well, we need to well, now we have value. After his 4th year, and it's $3 million this year, $3 million plus this year. If we're not in love with Justin Fields, which I think we will be, adding these weapons that I'm going to show you, we have 2 firsts and 2 seconds next year, plus all the capital we built in. And I think we need that capital because we have contracts right now that are built for a team for the Super Bowl now. We have a Super Bowl now team with our young contracts. You add key pieces in this draft with 8 picks in the first 2 days, 2 firsts, 3 seconds, 3 thirds. Those are quality picks. Those are guys that you plan to plug in and start right away. Those first and second rounds especially. Third rounders you want to, but they might need a little more development. So that's where I'm headed with this draft. Here's our draft. We have our first pick overall is going to be Rome Odunze. I'm going to get rid of this because I got some highlights that I'm going to play. So let's get rid of this completely. You guys don't have to look at my mug. All right, that's gone. So our first pick is Rome Odunze. He is an elite receiver. I'm not going to go over all the traits and characteristics of these quarterbacks or these wide receivers or these defensive ends or these tackles or these centers. The positions we pick, I'm going to show where I think we should pick with these picks and the value we can build in this draft specifically at this position, wide receiver position. The Bears need to go out and pick up wide receivers. So with our second pick, I'm going to have us pick up Leatu Latu. Now this can be interchangeable. This could be with Jared Verse. One of them is going to get picked before the 11th pick overall. But I like Leatu Latu. We're going to say if Leatu Latu's already picked, we're going to pick up Jared Verse. Leatu Latu might be the one that falls to us, even though he's my favorite, because there was some injury concern. That injury concern should be gone. He's not injury prone. He had an injury. Everyone gets injured, and now he's back. In the second round, this one's interchangeable too. We've got Tyler Nubin, safety from Minnesota. We can interchange this one with Cam Kitchens as well. Tyler Nubin this year is the stud safety in all of college football. Cam Kitchens last year was that stud safety. They're both great plug-and-play starters. I've got us getting rid of Eddie Jackson and his contract. Love Eddie Jackson. Did a great job for us in Chicago. He's not the future. He's getting older. He's not living up to the contract value anymore. We can cut him and save a bunch of money, move forward with Tyler Nubin. So our first pick in the second round, Tyler Nubin. If he's not there, we're taking Cam Kitchens. I see Tyler Nubin probably falling, I'm going to say the Eagles in the first round. So I don't see him lasting. But if the Eagles pick up Cam Kitchens, we're taking Tyler Nubin. I'll let some of these highlights play out so you can see some of them. All right, with our next pick in the second round, I have Brian Thomas Jr. Now, Brian Thomas Jr. is part of why Jaden Daniels is so amazing. Now, Jaden Daniels is a great quarterback. I'm not discounting him at all. But Brian Thomas is an elite wide receiver. Some places have him projected in the first round. That could happen. But with how deep this class is, he could very easily fall to the second round. And most places have him projected around 45 to 55. So I'm not doing crazy out there things where I'm putting these guys that we could pick up. These are realistic. I'm actually going ahead of where most project them to be and finding spots where I see tons of value. If we have, right off the bat, Rome Odunze and Brian Thomas Jr. combined with DJ Moore and Cole Kmet, we're stacking weapons, but that's where we are. If we trade for the now and we trade for these picks in the now and have 8 picks in the first 3 rounds, this is what we can assemble with these young contracts to get the Bears not only into the playoffs, but competing for a Super Bowl. So I love Brian Thomas Jr. I think if you look into him, you're going to love him too. He's athletic. He breaks tackles. He reminds me a lot of DJ Moore, but taller. Not quite as muscular, but he's quick. All right. I love Braxton Jones. But if the Bears want to compete, we need depth. And Patrick Paul is an elite tackle that in this class with Olufushanu and Joe Alt isn't getting all the attention. Now, I don't think he'd go in the top of the first round anyways in any other year, but he has the talent. And if you bring him in to compete with Braxton Jones and have one of them be the swing tackle, we have 3 solid tackles that I'm extremely comfortable with bookending our line to give Justin Fields the support he needs to not only stay in the pocket and hit these weapons we're drafting, but scramble if need be. That's him on the left side, number 76, if you hadn't pointed that out yet. If you haven't noticed who he was. Yeah, he's a mauler. He fits right in with the Bears. You're going to like him. Hey. So, 3rd round, number 73. This one was from Washington or from Atlanta. This is my stud center that I love. He is elite in run blocking and pass blocking. Jackson Powers Johnson has risen to the top of my draft board. A lot of people on different forums and where I'm talking to people and where they're questioning me ask, well, not Cedric Van Pran. No, I'm not in love with Cedric Van Pran. I think he has a lot of potential, and I think he had a good year last year or 2 years ago, but he's not the elite on the top of my board. Jackson Powers Johnson is center from Oregon. He's top of the class in run blocking, top in pass blocking. He gets out there just like Bears linemen right now do for the screen passes and for the runs that we do. He's going to be the guy that is downfield, but also blocking for the pass to protect when he needs to. So check into him more. You're going to like him. He'll rise to the top of your boards too. I really, really like Jackson Powers Johnson. Mauler. All right. Our own pick in the 3rd round, I was taking Brendan Rice, who to me, is the reason Caleb Williams has looked semi-decent this year. Caleb Williams has made some of his other receivers not look so great this year. I love Brendan Rice. I think he has a ton of room to grow. This was his first real breakout year this year. He didn't really come onto the scene until now. He's Jerry Rice's son. I don't know, my video's not playing here. Check out Brendan Rice. You're going to like what he has. Pause that for just a second. Brendan Rice is tall, athletic. He breaks tackles. We stack those 3 wide receivers together with DJ Moore, and we have one of the most stacked young groups in the NFL. Again, Rome Odunze, Brian Thomas Jr. from LSU, and Brendan Rice combined with DJ Moore, and we're going to obviously keep a couple. Tyler Scott's an obvious keeper, and then probably Velus Jones with his speed for returns and how we're starting to use him as a Cordell Patterson type of running back. I can see that coming to fruition a little bit more too. All right, now we add in there Cade Stover, who started as a linebacker. Roll for a second. Started as a linebacker, and he knows how to punish. So I really like Cade Stover as well. tight end out of Ohio State. I think he might be climbing draft boards as we get going along. I'm not sure why the video on this isn't rolling, but check out Cade Stover. I'm going to roll through these last ones pretty quick because the video is getting longer than I wanted it to be. All right. Next up, you've seen me talk about Darius Robinson quite a bit. Darius Robinson's still one of my favorite, but he is starting to climb boards. I don't know if we can get him in the 4th round anymore. He started out as a 6th rounder, 5th rounder. Now he's a 4th rounder. I think we can pick him up at 113 because of his inconsistencies, but he's one of those guys we have on the defensive line. Put him with Pickens and Dexter and Billings and rotate him in and get him experience. He might not be the stud this year, but he will be a stud. All right, Joe Milton, this is my backup. Great teams develop quarterbacks. Joe Milton is not a polished quarterback, but he can throw it a mile, and he is a dual threat quarterback as well. He can throw it literally 90 yards. I'm not going to go farther into him because I've already had a lot of videos on him. All right, so here's my draft. Let's bring this back. Sorry about that. That was a little choppy, but I think you get the gist of what I'm saying. We select those wide receivers, tight end Cade Stover to pair up on the 12 personnel sets. We have an offensive tackle, a center, a safety. We still have room in free agency too to go out and pick up other pieces we might need, like more guard depth or more cornerback depth or even a center, a starting center. Man, I really, really, really liked the Miami center, Colin. Excuse me. Right now, so I apologize that it's facing me because I've kind of put him out of my mind after he tore his ACL, but he won't be available for the first 4 to 6 weeks of next year. So I've kind of put that path out there, but I do like the Bears going out in free agency and getting a starting center, a top-tier center, because that's the commander on your offensive line. That's the guy who sets the tone, who relays the rest of the information. But with Jackson Powers-Johnson, I really like him too. Let me know what you think of this draft. This draft, to me, is how the Bears need to go. This is how the Bears need to attack this year's draft. We've traded back for future picks. We had Carolina's first, next year's second. We have their first this year, and it paid off. But you can't keep perpetually doing that. You can't go to the future over and over and over again when you have windows on current players. Now, we could keep doing it, and we can cycle players. But if you want to hit home runs, let's bring those early round picks in. Let's get a team formed that's got the home run hits in those first 3 rounds. And let's take this wide receiver core to make Justin Fields the first Bears 4,000-yard passer. I honestly think we could be a team that has 5,000, 6,000 yards in the season. Not all through the air, but on the ground and in the air combined, and be an offensive powerhouse to match Eberflus's defensive powerhouse that he's forming. The monsters of the Midway are back. And with this draft, I really feel like the Bears would be set up for this year, next year, the year after, and in that window of 3 to 5 years to get multiple Super Bowls before some of these contracts start coming due. And then we have to make the tough decisions of who we keep, who we trade, and where we build more capital to get young guys again. But right now is the now to capitalize. So hope you liked the video. Please like it. Please subscribe if you haven't. I really love putting this content out. I'm obviously going to be putting a ton of drafts, mock drafts, and stuff out through the offseason. And as anything changes through the Bears, I'm going to let you know. But let me know what you think, and bear down.